Hello, YouTube. I know it's been a long time, but I'm back for another video. So, without any applause, no applause necessary, let's get into it. Without an intro, of course. Uh, so, as the title suggests, this is for Armada Strike Group, or for short, ASG. How to improve upon that with what you can get. So, I have here my alt. I'm here with my alt to just to give a good example. And my alt is, as you can see, 3.2 billion. I do not have, it would be more if I had this is activated. I'm just giving a relative perspective on a nuanced type of character, and I'll work and show you what I have on my main character. So, alt account, spent very little money over the years on this account, just building it up. So this is a great example, in my opinion. As you can see, not very much jet attack, but as you can imagine, I actually have ASG equipment on this character, and you heard me correctly. Also, you want to have several types of different equipment, and I mainly have combat and ASG just for short. So I just wanted to give you a kind of a example of what I have on my alt. So obviously you see my combat equipment. I go on my presets, and here combat, I have PvE combat, and then ASG equipment. So you can see I have some epic equipment. That's just because I don't have legendary equipment, and I'm not going to pay for it specifically. And you can see here I have this commander thingy right here, which I got in an earlier battle pass. And the sunglasses, I can't remember. I think it was battle pass also. But I just wanted to show you that ASG equipment is possible at a smaller power range and for basically free, because epic equipment is technically free. You just have to build up for it. And then on this character, you used to have actually uh, 10 sets of epic equipment before I got all this legendary, so it is very possible. So the next step is what to put on the equipment. Now, I did in an earlier video show you the trait setup. I'm not going to go too far into that, but I'm going to show you kind of what I have on the epic equipment, which is pretty generic, just kind of like what would be on the legendary. Uh, I can say that the epic equipment is kind of difficult to get traits on. And I didn't really work too much on the traits on this epic equipment, honestly, but you could probably do more than me. So as you can see, uh, I specialize in jet specialty attack, since it's a lot better than jet any air. Surprisingly enough, the legendary equipment is a lot easier in getting the stats. And this, well, I'm me being a moron. I don't even have jet attack on this boot. So you can see how much I pay attention to my ASG equipment. So I'm gonna have to fix that a little bit. Um, that's how idiocracy right there. Actually, right now the legendary be better. I'm so stupid. So, and then if you have a pistol, the only pistol with specialty attack would be the commander pistol. But since I have this big dog, even getting say 20% jet specialty, you still got a large amount of jet attack. This overrules all jet attack anyway. I mean, I've seen some people with jet any air buffs on this. I like to double ship attack, so I'm gonna leave it there at that point. So moving on to equipment. This video is gonna get long. So another thing is, if you're 32 and up, you can have carrier group. Obviously, you got your spearhead, which is 30%, but you can also do sledgehammer, which adds another 20%. So total of 50% anti-air, so your anti-air is increased by this much, and then obviously my jet power is going to go up too a little bit. If you don't have this, you can stick with the Nimitz too. If anything, some people might want to do the other route, which another thing, if you do you see like Enterprise, you see the jet specialty 5%. If you now for that to actually work, you'll have to go in here, select Enterprise, and then run this. And you can also do obviously SL with the Nimitz. Personally, I've done this both ways. I mean, it will help. Just a little boring, obviously, because you're not going to throw a lot of jets out compared to the Nimitz, but you do get a more jet attack, which is kind of more important. So this is another option. The only con is you really got to work. You got to kind of work on this a little bit. And on my main character, honestly, I resetted it. Honestly, at my point, you don't need this anymore. Another option you can do that will increase it a little bit, but not much. Just go to Nimitz and then do his secondary carrier as Nimitz. This is what I used to do, and this will give you a little bit more depending on how much you have in module upgrades, but not as much as you think. It's not a huge amount. And then you can obviously go in here. So the escort carrier 3% back, which is not really it's a tiny amount. If you have a tiny amount, that 5.7 is not going to do much. So another thing I would like to express is the method. So I'm going to get on another character and kind of show you a little bit on what I mean. This is another alt I have. This actually has some presets for ASG, I believe, too, somewhere. I think this is it, actually. But another method I would suggest doing is, you can do this. Let's spam. I don't have a lot of groups, you can say. You can do that. See, I have some ASG equipment. If you're really tight on the damage, you don't have a lot of jets, you could just do 1 or 2 or 3 like this. You're going to obviously do more damage over time, just not as quickly. You can see how quickly it goes down. So, your top 3 are going to do more damage than the 4, 5, 6, 7, or whatnot that you have. You can see how much they're going down. Whereas if I was spamming, if I had more groups, then it would be a lot better example. So you can also see how I ran out, but that's not besides the point. So you can just do 1 or 2 if you don't have a lot of strong jets, 1 or 2 at a time if you need to, or just spam it. It's really up to you. I used to use the 1 or 2, 3 method, but that's not necessary. It's not, it's just another method you could do. Alright, so I'm back. Hopefully I can merge this video. I accidentally stopped the last video. So bring it on to my main a little bit, just to show you some of the equipment I have. So if you're a little bit more advanced, you may have all legendary equipment for a Martyr Strike group ASG, or you're close to it. Obviously I'm going to go. So obviously the best equipment right now is Commander equipment. All the other legendary equipment, except for this accessories right here, don't have jet specialty, so that's the only limitation on if you're trying to get ASG equipment, which it's very vital that you do. So obviously I'm gonna not go into too much detail. All my equipment basically looks like this in very similar way. You got jet specialty 20%, which I always auto forge. Then you got the increased jet attack ASG 19%, jet anti-air 18%, and actually evasions are not too bad of a deal. So I have 3 to 4 or even 5 sometimes special effects on my legendary. Here's another one. Obviously, 1, 2, 3. So three's been my minimum. 1, 2, 3. Technically 4 with that speed a little bit. So that's a good thing. In terms of which legendary equipment you should get first for on ASG, I kind of actually recommend the boots, just because you can get them to plus 10, and you got jet movement speed 92%. This comes in pretty handy, especially if you're in a bigger alliance, because I could be 2 to 3 rows, and plus my jets are pretty fast anyway, but you can be 2 to 3 rows and still get instant attacks. So that's also a good thing. And obviously, you see my stats. All units, Durban. 1, 2, 3. So I got 3. So I got minimum of 3. And then obviously, I was telling you about the pistol. I just use my main ship attack pistol for ASG, just because the amount of jet attack you actually get is quite significant. And even if I wouldn't even have enough time to have an ASG pistol just for this. It'd be just a waste. Most of the higher ups don't even use the carrier formations anymore. I usually just use regular carrier formation LA and then switch to my ASG equipment. And then another vital, and to get into it also to help improve yourself, I wanted to get on my main just because of skins. So obviously you go to your managed skins. I own pretty much all the available ASG type ones. So the base one, the only one for base right now for ASG, obviously have the tournament one. But honestly, the funny thing is, after I got this one, the next season over, this one's a whole lot better. So there's that. So currently the only base for ASG to put on is this. You get obviously Jet Specialty 5%, and then Jet Any Air 12%. So right now this is the best skin for ASG, period. And then moving on to Portrait. Portrait right now, Pantheon skin. You get the 15% jet attack during ASG. And then otherwise the new one is this one, but it doesn't account for that ASG. There's technically 2 skins for nameplate that will count for it. First one off was Pixel. You get 15% Jet Any Air, and also some decent, split 60 stuff too you can do. Also the second one for ASG would be this one. So you get an extra 5% now if you use the 4th anniversary nameplate. If you don't have the 4th anniversary nameplate, just go with the Pixel. You get 20%. The new one right here is okay. I guess if you don't have the Pixel one, you could use the new one now. The 12%. Not a huge difference, but the Pantheon is overall. Oh my god, damn. Pixel is somewhat few percent better, and then not to mention the Pixel base, very important to get eventually, very important. So I would suggest getting the Pixel anyway. So that's it for kind of skins, and then I can show you so you can see that Enterprise I got 0. So I hope this video helps you out in improving your Armada Strike Group ASG performance. That's pretty much it. And then my recommendation too is just spam that jet attack button. Honestly, nowadays, what I used to do was send only 2 to 3 groups at a time, but now I just kind of spam the jet attack ASG button, and I did it with my alt actually, which you can see right there. I did it with my alt, and actually it doesn't necessarily matter, but if you wanted a little bit more performance longevity, too. You can just send 1 to 3 groups. It does higher damage. So there's that too. That's another strategy that I used to do. But spamming it is just as good too. If you have several people in your group, spamming just doesn't, yeah, doesn't matter nowadays anymore. So I hope this video helps. And if I missed anything out, please drop it below. If any more questions, obviously drop it below. Thank you.